I know what you're thinking. The sweeping part is easy. If only I could synchronize my hands, then I would sound freaking amazing. But you know what? You are wrong. And we're going to speak about that right here and right now. So hi there, I'm Chris. And sweep picking is often presented as a, beginner-friendly way of shredding. And I don't really agree with that, but there is a little bit of truth to it in the sense that the actual picking part is less complicated. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's not as complicated to understand when comparing to some kind of traditional alternate picking run. And that's because the sweep picking motion in itself is almost self-explanatory. We're going just in one direction, which means we're down picking all the strings, or we're going in the other direction and we're going to be up picking. That's not very hard to understand. So why is sweep picking still very hard to perform? And that's pretty much what we're going to be scratching our heads about. Because I think a lot of people can sort of grasp the basic sweep picking motion in a day or less. So all you need to do is basically lightly touch the strings with your left hand, so no notes ring out, like that. And then you can practice the consecutive down motion. Now it's important to note that you should not be picking every individual string as if it were a downstroke. Sorry about that. So not like that. That's a common issue, right? You don't want to take your pick high up in the air between each strike because then you're just playing downstrokes. You're not sweeping. So you need to rest the pick on the adjacent string in order to practice this slowly. Okay, but once you understand that and you practice doing that in both directions, you're pretty much good to go as far as the sweeping motion goes. However, that's usually when problems arise, okay? Because now all of a sudden, we're tempted to start trying this on a real arpeggio. So instead of just doing, we would maybe play like, a D major triad. Turns out that it's not as easy. So we start understanding that it's the connection between the hands that need to work. In other words, we're going to synchronize our hands. So instead of doing that, we're going to do... Basically, the sweep is going to have to happen exactly when I fret a note. And then, even worse, I got to go to the next string and make sure the previous note is not ringing out. So here, I think you can probably already start to imagine where issues arise. But the problem here is really not that your hands need to start working together, at least not from my experience. The problem is that the left hand work is insanely more difficult than the right hand work. So it's not that you need to synchronize your hands, you need to teach your left hand how the heck it's going to play an arpeggio. Now, I found this to be true in, probably a good 99% of all the students I've had. Hand sync is almost never the issue because sweeping, you're going to learn that quickly, and playing an arpeggio with the left hand is going to take a long time. So, why is this important? Well, if you do not understand where the problem lies, you cannot focus on the solution. So I've seen a whole bunch of people who assume the problem is the synchronization between both hands. So they're practicing synchronization, which is pretty good because you get to work on your muting technique. Like I said, you got to be able to mute the adjacent strings or you're just going to get, big mush of noise. So there's nothing wrong with practicing hand sync, but that's not alone going to help you at all. You need to practice the left hand. And I'm not saying you got to do your average legato exercise. Again, that's fine, but it is not honing in on the problem. More specifically, what you have to do is work on the left-hand patterns that are related to the sweep-picking arpeggio that you're trying to learn. Okay, so I can see all these question marks bubbling around. So what I'm saying now is that you need to focus on the exact pattern you try to sweep, but only with the left hand. So, right hand up in the air. I can't use it. Okay, there we have something. Now that was noisy, and it's supposed to be noisy because I have no right hand to mute the other strings. So the reason I put my hand up in the air was just to show you that I wasn't using my right hand. I'm not saying you should practice like that, because if you do that, you will not develop a muting technique, and at best you're gonna sound like this with all the noise. So you still gotta follow with your right hand, and that has to be practiced super slowly. That's the only way you can program correct muting into your technique. But here's pretty much the essence of my message today. Sweeping, easy. Hand sync, not easy, but not the biggest issue. Left hand, super hard. This is where the issue lies. So get your left hand rolling with any exercises you can think of, and more specifically, the exact patterns you're trying to sweep. That will help you, trust me. If you're looking to learn exactly this, then this is a D major triad arpeggio, and I'm just going to tell you the frets on each string so you can get practicing it. It's 17 on the A string, 16 on the D string, and it's 14 on the G string, it's 15 on the B string, and it's 14 on the high E string, and then 17 on the same high E string. Those are the notes. And then you would go up and down, and you could just hone in on the top strings if you're new to this and do. And practice it more than that, because then that's a fail. Shouldn't be failing. Anyhow, so that's my little message for today. Think about the left hand. Isolate it. Modern practicing is all about identifying the issue and honing in on it. That's how you make quick progress. The old way of doing it would just be to senselessly repeat without thinking about what areas you're really trying to improve. So there's no point in getting super good at the sweeping motion and then just progress super slowly at the left hand, because that's going to give you very slow overall progress. If you want fast progress, then you're going to have to hone in on the issue, which most of the time is the left hand. Okay, hopefully I got my point across. I want to thank you so much for watching. You've been wonderful. I've been Christopher Dahl. See ya. Cheers.